Assalamualaikum everyone. I am still feeling pretty average, but I wanted to ride this momentum while it is still there. So recently, if you've been following me, I've been posting a lot of pay up hashtags on my Instagram stories, and basically it is a campaign for all of the garment workers in Bangladesh particularly, but other developing nations as well. Within those brands, I know that some of them have paid up and some of them haven't. They've done due to the uncertainty provided by the infamous COVID-19 pandemic, is they had to stop their already running contracts midstream. No financial aid was provided by these massive companies to our workers. And mind you, our workers in Bangladesh are some of the most underpaid and overexploited people on the face of planet Earth. A lot of our garment workers are females, and these females are taken away from their families either by choice due to their circumstances, away from their families and children. The average income for a garment worker is less than $100 US. So today I wanted to focus on my maternal uncle, who I refer to as Mama. He is among the very few garment factory owners in Bangladesh. Why I am suggesting that he is ethical, and I will also provide some photos to substantiate my claims. Number one, he mainly relies on machine and not so much human intervention, even though he will still need employees, but they are not sitting in one position for almost 22 hours a day. As you saw in the article from War and Want, some of these women were working from 7:30 a.m. to 3 a.m. and then doing it all over again, and they don't have maternity leave paid for them. They can't form a union. The other thing is, my mama has a very structurally sound factory, another photo that I'll be providing, and that is very important to highlight. I don't know if you guys remember in 2013 the Rana plaza collapse, and there was almost 3,000 garment factory workers who unfortunately died or still haven't been found, and that is just 3,000 too many. Even if it was one, it would be one too many. And the other thing I wanted to highlight was all of these international brands, they have in their contracts that they do not want their Bangladeshi the Bangladeshi contractors or Bangladeshi major head contractors who take on their clothing contracts or textile contracts, whatever it's called. They say a big no to subcontracting. However, those Bangladeshi garment factory owners, because it is so hard to deliver such high volume of clothing items, they have nothing better to do but subcontract them out to smaller factories, which are usually unethical. This is no excuse on behalf of the head contractors, but let me just set the scene for you in terms of what goes on in Bangladesh. Bangladesh, especially in Dhaka and Chittagong, they're the two main hubs for garment factories. They are a few of the most densely populated cities in the world, right? So getting items from here to there, that's one issue. And then there's another issue, is having the workers travel from here to there is another issue. So when things take that long to produce, they have no other way to produce such high demand of fashion that is required by the Western consumers and the Western international billionaire companies, then they have to subcontract out, and some of these subcontract factories are unfortunately substandard in the way they treat their people, in the way that they treat their compliance, their risk compliance and all of that above. And I will also be posting a link to a study that I was reading last night, where Western brands are fully aware of what goes on. They're against it by face value, but they will also, mention how that's how they can keep, costs cheaper for the Western consumers. And look, I am not here to crucify Western consumers, because I know that there is people who fall below the poverty line within the Western world as well, and I know that those clothing provide some sort of warmth and some sort of covering for human beings. I'm not here to crucify anyone. I'm here to bring about an awareness of what's going on, and an awareness of how the rich in both Bangladesh and the Western world exploit our garment workers in developing nations, especially in my home country, Bangladesh. So going back to my mama, as you saw in the War on Want article, it talks about how female workers are subject to sexual harassment, possibly even rape. Obviously that's not reported sometimes. My mama's factory tries its best to hire younger men, so women who are carrying children or have to look after infants or have to look after their elderly members. And this is not to substantiate or justify that women shouldn't be going out and working. That's not why I'm here. I'm talking about this is how he navigates his business so not to break families apart, where women are subject to these heinous disgusting crimes against them, when a country has absolutely no support for their female workers. There's only so much an ethical company can do, and having political influence in Bangladesh is key to success. And if you want to have political influence, you have to be ready to do unethical things in Bangladesh. And so if you don't want political influence, you have to be ready for your business not to succeed as much as the other corrupt companies.
On top of that, I will also provide a photo of my mama's factory, and you will see the difference between some of the factories that Bangladesh currently contains, and those factories actually produce a lot more revenue and income than my mama's one does. And it is air-conned, it is well ventilated for his employees who live too far away. He also has rooms dedicated for them so they can stay there for the working week. And from what I have seen, my mama treat his workers with a lot of respect and kindness, and always giving them their bonuses. So he was also providing services for some of the major brands that these major brands would say they would make a contract for $100, like it's not $100, far more than that, but say $100 for them to deliver a certain amount of jeans over 3 years. But say within 1.5 years, my mama's factory produced 50% of that order. Within that time, the brands would be searching other developing nations like Vietnam, Malaysia, India, China to see if they could get cheaper contracts. And once they do find the cheaper contracts, what they do is they would pull out that contract and go on, leaving my mama and his employees out in the cold, in the deep end, to fetch for themselves, because now they don't have that income stream coming in anymore, and all of a sudden that work is gone. Mama was also responsible to pay for the compliance of his buildings. So the brands never paid for it, however that was a requirement. Those contracts that the brands produced, they never had a major contingency fund dedicated to their developing nation workers or those factories. It just doesn't add up. There is these companies who have $1 billion in revenue, and the CEOs are cashing in on millions and millions of dollars, and then you have all of these garment workers who are being significantly underpaid and exploited, and the garment factory owners are asked to provide a safe working environment, and the major brands are not responsible for something. And of course, majority of the rich in Bangladesh, unfortunately, are not the most ethical people. They definitely don't take this seriously, definitely not the way that my mama did, and they are also cashing in that money as well. This video is to highlight the grave situation that our country currently is in, and the global garment crisis that we are facing, and absolutely no one is doing anything about it because money talks, and these people do not have money to talk.